party, they will get plenty issues them or they can look at. But we start first with the Salon People's Party, the SLPP, where they get now the lower level elections. Now different parts them in the country. Also then they about for elect new executive officer. Them women say the party they can get a new executive we go vote for the leader them we go run the party. Well, from where these executive lower level elections we begin last week Saturday, we don't see different videos them we don't go viral. Also violence don't they come out from the elections there. So for the SLPP as a party where they in governance, what in this mean for them? Let we look this short report. They'll go can talk to Lahai Lawrence Leema, when are the public relations officer for the Salon People's Party.
The Ceylon People's Party don't start in lower level elections. This bientem for elect then leaders and representatives na the different regions then na freedom and other parts na the country. The elections here don't create concern from the general public as of how the party they conducts in lower level elections, as this year election full of controversy and violence than most of the regions them where the party conducts the elections. Most senior members them now the party don't raise concern on how the elections they go on, where most of them they call on the party leadership for ensure see then look into them violence here tranga one. We now go put the party repetition down the line. Most of them violence here start from freedom and other parts in the country. Because of them plenty violence here will happen, make the party pull out a press statement for condemn some of them violence here will happen inside the SLPP lower level elections across Salon. And inside the press statement, the party make it very clear say their actions here where people put on go against the core democratic principle of the SLPP, as the party strongly condemn any form of violence, intimidation, or disruption will happen inside the party activity. The National Secretary General of the SLPP, Mao Napoleon Koroma, stated very clear inside the press statement, say the party will conduct investigation on all the reported incidents, and the one them way responsible will be held to account, and end up for extend sympathy to all the people that will get affected inside the violence here across the country. And he urged the members them for all respect, unity, and discipline. For Liberty Online TV, Al Hassan Kouma, the report.
Still watch the breakfast show on Liberty Online Television, and that's a report where Al Hassan Kuruma puts together for sake of the different violence them we don't see the happen and clip them where they go around social media regarding the SLPP executive elections them where they carry on as the neck be meet inside January. Osai one pan them when them being grief for now for let them begin do the executive elections and at the different districts. Well, from where the elections here so begin, we don't see clip of people we don't they reportedly say now violence where they happen at the elections them where they carry on. The party we don't pull a position outside in press release they indicate and condemn the acts of violence where they happen, but then still they investigate. But for let we know more about this, we they join the National Publicity Secretary for the Ceylon People's Party, SLPP, when Lahai Lawrence Leema, as it on the line now live for give you an update. Good morning and welcome to the Liberty Breakfast Show, Mr. Leema.
Good morning, Miriam. Thank you for having me.
All right, as a party, like I just don't tell the viewers them, I guess una self don't see the videos clip them where they go around the social media pa una executive elections them where they carry on at different districts them in the country currently. Firstly, how I receive the news say when una elections then don't start so a lot of violence complaints only come out from the different side and where did all the elections and so far.
Well, in the first place, the SLPP is being guided by rules and regulations. I know also deny the fact that there are not few skirmishes around. But in the first place, the entire party was gathered actually at the National Party headquarters in the NEC meeting. We been come up with a resolution for conducting the elections in because we within our office now, we mandate will not expire. Now NEC will not even extend the mandate for 6 months. And within the 6-month period, we move forward to conduct elections. For the one that we get intention for still aspire for the same positions and for let them get fresh mandates. And also the one that we get for also occupy office for let themselves come in as new members or new executive members. So on that note, the National Secretariat, they gave a come out with a timetable for conduct the elections. One of the critical phases of those tiers of the elections are these zonal levels. And one of the things we have a look at before 2018, when we come into power, we not been get a set of rules and regulations where they guide the conduct of the elections. So waiting we don't happen, people be the queue. And when they queue and decide on the candidates, that was how we done the conduct the elections at that zonal level. But it come to a time where at least the authorities of the party and even the general membership of the party be done the view down and they disenfranchise other people. So 2021 review of the constitution and also bringing out rules and regulations. Now one party thing that may be captured, so we forget a guidance. I mean, the rules and regulations where they guide the elections, the conduct of the election. So when we meet NEC be decisive the 2021 rules and regulations. Now therefore guide the conduct of this lower level elections, so that at least outside consensus not be a better decision will be made and a fair decision will be made as to whoever they compete will therefore get fairness in competing. So now that has been the reason why I make the rules and regulations serve as the guidelines for these elections. So what's only happen now? As for a few areas outside consensus, maybe some people run for probably force their own will against the established rules and regulations, or some other areas where they complain say the party carried and come with some of them not able to forget them. And with all of them challenges there, we able to still go through the first tier of the elections, so that the zonal levels of the elections. And 90% of that election is successful, save for a few areas which we able to forget there. Suicidal violence incidents and they've been reported for places like Tonkolili and other isolated areas. And for those areas, the party come up with a press release for putting areas that they on hold and conduct an investigations on the conduct of which lead to them violence that they, and anybody who they found wanting, definitely the party will therefore take a disciplinary actions against them. So going forward, the party also don't set up a complaints committee. We're going to address grievances of members and will participate in the process, so that at least the next level of the elections we get for be the chiefdom and constituency level, so we get for conduct. It will happen in a very, very sanitized manner and in a very peaceful atmosphere. And so for make we able to prevent what we don't happen the first tier, we don't able to get the complaints committee, we will act in all sense of fairness for able to address concerns or grievances and we party members and we get in the elections there.
Lima, you just make mention, say, even before when una commence the lower level elections, the NEC, when at the highest body of the party, being put together some guidelines, them will be published by the Secretary General where is signed. Amidst all them guidelines there, but yet still violence not erupt. So don't they see videos saying they burn on a party member that they houses them, especially the video from Tonkolili. As an executive, outgoing executive, una feel disappointed by una members them?
Well, the executive is still not outgoing. I am still an executive member until that day we then elect the new PR, then will now consider me an outgoing. So I'm still the function of good. I want to say these are conducts way contrary to the ideals of the party, and that is more the reason why the National Secretariat puts on hold elections in that particular district for investigates who are they behind the violence in that particular area. And if you happen to say an SLPP member or members, they behind waiting happen at Tonkolili, and definitely there is no way the party will take disciplinary action against them. For any reason, somebody behaves contrary to the norms and standards of an established institution, certainly now one down the way, any institution will feel well with, and of course it will appear as a disappointment to the institution itself. So yes, it is a disappointment that if only the SLPP members have behaved that way, and then no say that is not a conduct we conform with the ideals and ethos of the SLPP. So it's a disappointment. And that disappointment, they notice something we would let go free. Now that make the party secretariat they conduct an investigations for bring then conducts them into disciplinary for take disciplinary action against them conducts them.
How sure you be say the party go able take disciplinary action, because names them don't they come up already, and some of the names them wey don dey come up now big names dem at the party, some people even hold senior position in government. So if them fall short of them crime there when they allege say that they send the supporter there for disrupt their elections there, the SLPP go able for take strong action against them people that will hold senior position at the government.
Oh, senior, but nobody don't be past the party. The party is an institution. So, and I make you decide for waiting. One of the first things we make you member. Now, because you agree, say you subscribe to the rules and regulations, so the guide the conduct. You conduct for being a member of that institution. So, if you conduct go outside the remit of which define the establishment of the institution, there is no way the party not will take disciplinary action against you. The party don't act on, don't take disciplinary measures against other big names inside the party before. So there is no way for keep the party intact and keep the party in functionality going. We will mean say they're not going to take disciplinary action against anybody. Nobody don't be past the party. Now in make at the same time the party also creates rules and regulations where it will make everybody treated fairly. So if you know say them, it takes steps then way it go against your own rights and existence and functionality in the party, there are channels where you get for go through for make sure say justice be served to you. But if you know exhausting channels that you venture into any conduct where they disrupt or they bring the party image and name into disrepute, then it shows say you're not ready for conform with the ideas of the party not go stop at anything for take disciplinary action against you.
Lima, not so the first time this way the SLPP lower level election or executive elections them reports they come out of violence waking happen at the elections here. Waiting are some of the lessons them where the party learn from the last lower level election una been get and the violence them will be happening.
You know, in every institutions where they compete for office, there are always be skirmishes of the sort. But one of the things we would say, it only happened before. We say this one way happen this time around. It not really due to that scale we be able to affect the overall outcome of the first tier of the election. So we don't do. The side and way it don't happen, we don't see the party don't take steps for what the elections in their areas and they for investigate the conduct and bring the one that we're responsible to account. So that is one step also for punctuates any further recurrence of whatever of that same incident will probably don't happen in certain areas for making not reoccur in other areas going forward. You know, sometimes when they take a decision for move an institution forward, some of the challenges that we will see so now things that we will not be say it will happen. Now that make they put a timeline to every decision so we don't take. So when then thing they come, it also they give the party they know how say okay we'll not be foresee this don't happen. What do we do going forward? Now we don't say with waiting don't happen. A complaint committee has been set up for able to address grievances. We now an immediate decision where the party secretariat don't take based on waiting happen at Onkolili. So we feel say with that complaint committee being set up, they will act in all sense of fairness to make sure say it prevents a recurrence of waiting don't happen so at Onkolili in other areas.
Lima.
And so that also will serve as a lesson going forward next time for local people for improve on the strategy better or minimize some of the unexpected itches they are with the call.
Lima, some of them lower level elections their own party don't begin conduct go determine the delegates them wey get for votes for una national officers them and the one the way they aspire for be flag bearer for contest for the party na the next general election so na 2028. Names don already begin comot for people wey say they want for be flag bearer and then still they serve na government. As an executive and also somebody wey hold a senior position where they talk for the party, how una be able for draw the line so that them people there so wey still hold position at government wey want for be flag bearer no go influence this process?
Well, Gandhi, it requires a strategy and also we believe say this executive under the leadership of Dr. Prinzadi, it's a bit different from previous ones. So nobody no go in a government and think say one for using government authority for undermine the functionality of the party and bring the image of the party into dispute by using the government authority. Fortunately, the level of awareness within inside the party, I don't feel say anybody go allow anybody for put in a disadvantaged position because of the government authority. So that is a thing where we will left for the real deal. And I believe so under the leadership of President Bill, we insert face so many challenges for attain the leadership position of this party. They don't understand all the challenging circumstances, and I'm sure under in leadership, we will create that level playing field for everybody, whether you're in a government or you're not in a government, for make you participate in the process fairly. I am very certain in leadership will provide that because INSSF one for left the party in a very cohesive manner. The one for left the party in leadership in a very organized and formidable fashion, and therefore I am certain it will provide that leadership. We will create fairness for every competing party, and that no one individual not will be at disadvantage because you're not in our government.
All right, no, you don't assure with viewers them this morning and serve some of una supporter and say nobody no go be disadvantaged during this process because they all a senior government position. I ask you this question for lay a premise for this next question I can ask you because in 2012 where una be they go through the same process there, people see and imagine parallel movement, if I can say, when I be the pauper by then. Now again, this 2025 or from 2024, people don't dey hear again about a parallel movement at the SLPP, we then call the radical inclusion, where the chief minister don't publicly come out, even at this platform and say, yes, na in get the radical inclusion and the radical inclusion na a political movement. We go see a reputation of how the pauper be emerged inside the SLPP as of the radical inclusion, Leema.
Well, I mean, no, you read that from for say, in say, a radical inclusion a political movement.
Well, me they tell you now, say we don't interview him now studios, and he say that.
And that they respond to. I don't know the context in which he say, but he also, if he say that, say it's a political movement, I don't understand the context. But what you mean, no, the SLPP has its own framework, it has its own organogram, it has its own slogan, which is one country, one people, we caters for every Sierra Leonean. So if anybody gets a movement or he gets an agenda, of course, every individual where they aspire, he gets a own policy guideline where INSEF one for come up with say, this is my own policy line of action where I want for bring, and I believe in where I don't say it conform with the SLPP ethos, it conform with the SLPP norms. And so now on this platform, we made it map for make sure say I propagate new ideas. So now make us don't know the context in which to say. But one of the things maybe say the SLPP is an entity where it defined by rules and regulations, and the constitution is guiding the conduct of every of the member. So no one individual not the way big past the other individual.
But it
so
is
which you know that the leadership will get now an experienced leader will not just reach outside a reach today by chance. They go through the pains, the constraints, the ordeals, or let able reach outside a reach today.
But Leema, it is allowed for another movement, just like how I been bring the pauper in 2012. So if another movement can now, then they call the radical inclusion, it is allowed in the SLPP, right?
You are propagating a movement that I am not aware of in the SLPP. So by merely talking about it consistently, you are propagating it. So I don't want to talk about the movement I'm not aware of. I am Sierra Leone People's Party member, and our slogan is one country, one people. I do not want to promote an agenda that is not within the confines of the SLPP. So I am talking strictly about SLPP and what organizations and institutions that are defined by the rules and regulations and the constitution of the Sierra Leone People's Party. So I do not want to talk about the movement that is not defined in the SLPP, because by merely talking about it, I'm propagating it and I'll be giving it a clout. So I do not want to really dabble. I don't want to dabble into any conversation where the constitution and other rules and regulations of the party are defined.
All right,
so
Leema.
if we are talking about the lower levels, which is defined by rules and regulations of the party, how we are going to conduct the elections, how fairness get put into the process. I think that suffices for we for discuss better. But the moment we discuss other agenda or other topics, we are only then the credence of popularity to it.
So back to the issue we get for do with the violence them we done they come out from the lower level elections. The SLPP na the party within governance. You think say this is a good example for the party within governance not able for conduct a lower level elections peacefully where it indicates to an extent where even a member allegedly now also done born and the violence now one way they come out from allegedly people them win at the Silent People's Party because now una they do na lower level elections. Is this a good example for a sitting government party not able for conduct a lower level election peacefully?
So I also wonder why we get a country where it gets we comprised of 16 political districts able to conduct a lower level elections. We come out successfully with only one district beside an incident of violence being reported, and that is under an investigation where party don't take a disciplinary measure for even put the election on hold and investigate that conduct. Still, why we for even emergency a party in governance not able for conduct the lower level elections for come up this war, where you get 16 political districts don't conform successfully or get a satisfactory outcome with just an isolated incident in one district, not even the entire district, probably not just a constituency area, for let people for consider say a party in governance not able for conduct a lower level elections for come up peaceful.
So now they expect say this for happen. Is it a good example?
So now make I tell you say this is disappointing because we not foresee this for coming for happen. But a political party is a melting institutions wherein you not foresee all of the things that we there for happen. But what's important now that you get a mechanism in place for any conduct with the outside the framework of the establishment of that institution for deal with that. And that is what exactly you've seen the step the party don't take for put a hold on the elections of that particular district beside that particular incident they happen for investigator. It is even possible say sometimes not to SLPP member then do it. But therefore, we not will conclude that until the party investigates and come up with a findings saying that this may happen, then we'll be able for better discuss or we'll be able for better discuss some of the issues today. But what's very much important now that the fact say the party don't able for conduct a lower level elections at a very critical stage when at the zonal level in a very successful and satisfactory atmosphere. I would say 95% of the process is very, very peaceful.
That brings me to the next question. Say, waiting at the possibility say no to SLPP members them be involved in that violence say, because earlier we be the talk, it also indicates say if the investigation done and then fair not say now anybody will belong to the SLPP do this, action go be taken. Why are there any speculations say possible say no to SLPP member? Wetin are the possibility around this wey na una dey do the elections and na side wey una dey do the elections this happen?
It's very possible say in our politics and democracy we dey into, and SLPP they try to organize themselves internally, and you get other opposing factions. So we probably number one for make the image of SLPP be seen as a very decent party who able to conduct themselves in a very decent atmosphere. So anything possible, an external intervention can come and also paint the party image bad. So it's difficult to discuss that now. Now I make I say let me be patient and wait. Let the party conduct investigations, and based on the findings, we then will come up with it. We will put you in a better position for discuss what will happen. So, because we know the day, whatever happened, like a report don't come, and that report has been subjected to investigations. So let's be patient and await the outcome of the investigations. Then that will put you on a better platform for discussion.
How long the investigation will take, Leema?
Yeah, I'm fairly certain as short as possible, because we are working on the timeline, and the process not going to be delayed as much as it will alter the timeline will be done put for make sure say we conduct the process they are successfully. So whatever happens, and therefore investigate that, and based on the outcome of the investigation, we'll therefore determine a review or is a suspension or a revocation of the suspension we then put on the conduct of the lower level in that district. So I'm sure they will do as quickly as possible for make them also commence the lower level elections. along with other districts then.
All right. Many thanks to you, Lahai Lawrence Leema, the National Publicity Secretary for the Sierra People's Party, for that update there we give to the Liberty Breakfast Show as we dey talk about the issue we get for do with the party decision for suspend for silver level election where they carry on at the side where violence happen. And according to them, it's an investigation they go on now, and when the investigation done, then go possibly take action against the one that way they not involved now the violence will happen at this election.
If you're happy to meet, we are. Clap your hands. If you're happy to meet, we are. Clap your hands. If you're happy to party with, we are. Pay for your ticket. If you're happy to party with, we are. Pay for your ticket. Join us for the iconic dinner and white party.
We yard fumble. Any partner the wall where you find yourself. Members say on the 28th of June 2025, all roads, all flights lead to the city of the European Parliament, Strasbourg, right inside France.
Outside Riyadh, that's not by Bure and Flagbearer go host Riyadh iconic dinner and white party. This na big opportunity for make you go rakpala, rub skin and jam body with Riyadh family members step where you don't see any year in Riyadh YouTube channel for so long.
So kids with all white on the 28th June 2025, a day where we set aside for make you meet with great warriors in a saloon. That na Baibure and SLPP of Riyadh. But first, make we show them love and support. Join the Baibure and SLPP healthy ticket sale competition for just €100. Call for buy you tickets and make early reservation for the event. Call plus 337 8056 0338 and say I support Baibure. Same way so, call plus 337 7180 6938 and say I support SLPP. We are going to keep record of the ticket sale and go make we all know who that win on the day for we had iconic dinner and white party.
You can also call for make donation and exchange Boku people and life inside salon with weird and generous donations.
So not forget, on the 28th June 2025, na Strasbourg inside France for just €100, we had iconic dinner and white party, the place where we all go enjoy with love and happiness. See you all there.
Get your ticket now, don't delay.
Right, so they continue with the breakfast show where they come to you live from Liberty Online Television. And earlier, we tell Una say today they look at different issues. They'll just don't talk to the National Publicity Secretary for the Salon People's Party, where give an update. But the lower level elections, the way they carry on now in some parts of the country. But they come now to another issue. Also, we tell Una say today, when they look at the alleged drug saga where they on Salon, also will see the international media don't they carry some of their story there. So what does this mean for the image of Salon internationally? Well, we get Professor Jimmy Kande, when a professor of political science, we go can tell we what this mean for Salon international image. As we all be know, during the term when President Bio be the campaign for win the 2023 elections. Immediately when he win, one of the things the way he say na that it travel around the world for clean the image of Salon. Well, on the line, we get Professor Jimmy Kande, where they with we this morning. Good morning, Prof, and welcome to the breakfast show. All right, for few weeks now, we don't see inside the international media like Al Jazeera and other one them, they carry news headline about Salon say the government of Salon, they harbor a Dutch fugitive. And according to news we break out yesterday, that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice na Salon don't receive an official request from the Dutch government say therefore release this alleged fugitive. Before we can talk about that, allegation of harboring such kind person as Salon and the issue of the Salon ambassador to Guinea who side and catch a motorcar with drugs, they go na Guinea, all they hanging on Sierra Leone. From an international diplomacy perspective, what does this mean for Salon as a state?
Well, first off, they do considerable damage to the country in reputation. And then kind reputational damage that they, or recover from. right? It not only they affect the one the way they go around the diplomatic passport, but even ordinary Sierra Union, that the eye they can't take all the travel. But from the perspective of international relations, really, there are many points that we can consider. First of all, we don't hear a lot of talk about state capture. And one of the worst form them of state capture, la folle, then syndicatia or network, whatever you call them, penetrate the state, infiltrate the state, buy off important functionaries, because that not only erode the state in sovereignty. If the state become a narco state, which you can forget, as a corollary, narco terrorism, a rise in homicide, all kind of crime. Because as the state become criminalized, obviously it's open season on anybody who try for call, into question some of the things that where they happen, especially with the drug trafficking. Again, with the state institutions for resist infiltration, but that become rather difficult if the participants or the actors, the main, actors there who are involved, are well connected. And then set now beneficiaries them, or then they're on the payroll of some of the drug lords there. So it erode with sovereignty. It pretty much mortgage the future of the country, because a narco state is a failed state in which you get power we don't fragment, you get contending centers of power, you get cliques them way go be even more powerful than some state agencies, and the state agency go be so disabled that they're not able to move against then click them there. So it's a very, very dangerous situation that we are entering in the country. Again, I will just speak in generalities and not in specificities, because Mr. Nayano and trouble, but there are certain general trends that we have to keep in mind and focus on. As all of them story here, they come out. It's not a one-off thing, and it didn't start today. Then kind events here, then kind incident here. Now that's the happen when you get rogue governance. And that's what we don't get now saloon since when. It's not about a party issue. I don't care for either of the parties. And I need to make that very clear, because they're all don't partake in this pattern of governance. We don't degenerate to the point that now then they associate with drug trafficking networks, with providing sanctuary for convicted drug kingpins and all. And then you have the Minister of Information coming out with one of the latest apology for what was going on, but I'm not delve into that. So who say you get that kind of governance? Now then kind of thing they happen. So I'm not really, really surprised, about that at all. And the fear for me is that we become an international pariah, then begin basically ostracize the country and treat we differently. Because Salon, most times when they are the news now for all the bad reasons, whether na be Ebola, whether na COVID, whether na mudslide, and now narco trafficking. Which is really bad. It chips away at any kind of soft power where we state get, because we don't get much hard power anyway. We can't even take back younger. So waiting we can cultivate now, waiting and call soft power. Why make other people and go left for cancer alone? Because of we natural beauty and all of those kind of things. But this drug trafficking therefore keep a lot of folks away. And that's something we have to take into account. I don't from time immemorial say they don't try for launder drug money through the banking system. But to his credit, I also hear he say the former bank governor, Kelfala Kalon, and I know him very well as a colleague and academic in the United States, he resists, he put his foot down. Any effort from anywhere for letting launder drug money through the Bank of Salon. And I salute him for that. We need more actors like that in the system. We go stand up for the country because their network are very powerful. They can back. You don't owe your meal to them. You can survive without them. Yeah, and not only survive, but do well. You may not be rich, but who says we all have to be rich anyway?
Prof, in this case,
And the fear is that as dainty as they happen, we state them become more criminalized, and that is very, very dangerous for all, for the leaders, for we, the citizens, we subset now this country. So there are many issues that we can cover, but like I say, it's a very, perilous
so
situation.
based on them few consequences here where you don't talk about, the way how government don't respond and don't they handle this whole issues of drugs saga na salon, you think so they're really aware of the kind way how this particular incident they dent the image of the country, when at this same image the president don't put a lot of money from citizens tax say it go for go make outside there? You think say government aware of this kind dents we go bring come to the country?
The government therefore be aware, obviously, unless they dug themselves a hole to hide themselves in, but they have to be aware.
But from the way how then they respond, you think say then they respond as expected?
It's not that they are not aware. You get elements them within governance who don't give a damn. Who don't give a damn. They will tell you, see, drug trafficking don't they go on a salon to today begin. Kemosi say they land one old, or allegedly land one old plane load of cocaine na Lunge Airport. In brother, then convict him. Usa is serving sentence. Now Connaught Hospital, they say the man sick. So there's always been this tendency for slap. The people are involved in such nefarious activities, so we'll slap them on the wrist and let them get away with it. So that don't encourage more of their activities here. There was the case of Jibril or Kouma or whatever under Abacha. I say Abacha, Acha, the Brahma Acha, whatever, was the police commissioner at that time. They allow him for take boat to escape, go Guinea. Later on, he carried the same Mikishigo like Liberia. Now this is a sting operation. Later, they do long-term service now, in America. So you need the cooperation of law enforcement. But when you begin hearing the kind way this guy infiltrates the system now, I can understand why these guys are moving, ever so gently, because they themselves may be exposed. But by pretending that it is not damaging our reputation, it is really providing poor leadership for the country. Because now this, then can tell me a good leader for step to the plate and own the issue and try for put them to bed, put an end to it.
So
I remember when that cocaine plane the land na saloon, and Escoma been take a jibe at Mugabe at that time. And one of the things Mugabe said was that, look, whatever happens in Zimbabwe, a cocaine plane can never land in Zimbabwe because he will take personal responsibility for that. So it's about protecting our country.
So, Prof, as you dey talk about how a leader suppose for own up in the situation there, so with current president, the way how we don't handle this particular situation, although we not hear any official statements from it, but we don't hear from the Ministry of Information, we come out clearly and say they're not sabi this alleged fugitive. And we don't dey see videos with this same person where the government say they not sabi. It then at the president in farm, then they harvest. And we don't dey hear again allegations say he engaged to the president in daughter when na Agnes Bio. And also pictures of this same person then at a church with the president for a New Year's Eve mass. With all of them evidence they are surrounding His Excellency the President. They don't handle them properly for clean the image of the country where it they lead.
I don't think so. I think first of all, you need to clean the image of a family. Because we don't want there with first family a name involved in them kind of activities here. It's not only bad for the country, but it reflects terribly on the first family. It get for clear in name, say, look, if even this man, I mean, son-in-law or whatever, and either I not be no but waiting the gun or I not be no say, which is anyway, it's very difficult for sustain that because now that the information minister tried for put out there, which was pure BS. That the only John Bull na that church the first family no know him, and the only John Bull we fella they go cut guess they don't know him. So again, they were faced with a very difficult situation where sometimes it's just better to stay quiet. But again, better to stay quiet than say something that would be further incriminating or just offer a rather lame excuse, for what is going on. So I mean, often say don't handle that properly. I think say for hold a press conference, we go even answer questions for clear the air, for clear the name of not only the countries, because you can get rogue actors running around unbeknownst to the president. Yeah, there are things he may know, there are things he may not know. But there are many rogue actors running around there. I don't there now for almost 4 years since I retired early for just scam back in the country. And repeatedly at the Yeribo, all kind boats there with the land Black Johnson. So this is not a one-off thing. And even the Guinea thing is not a one-off thing. That stuff must have been going on. The whole sub-region don't become a kind of narco, trafficking hub. First, na Guinea-Bissau been the talk much for about now. Now it don't drift down cancer alone. And like I say, not to today begin. It's just getting worse now and getting closer to the higher ups than even before.
Prof, you just make mention of rogue elements them around the presidency. Wey bring me to the next question wey many Sierra Leoneans don dey ask. Na how this drug kingpin make im way too close to the presidency as far as engaging the president in daughter, as far as attending a mass with the president, as far as harvesting na the president in farm. And one of the people or the name that they come up in all of this, now the current immigration boss, where a video will go viral, they show it effect na a nightclub protecting this drug kingpin. You, with all of this evidence, it clearly shows say the immigration boss now one of the rogue elements them where they around the presidency. You convinced based on that video, I believe say you self don't see.
I'm very hesitant for calling. I would just leave them at that, say they are rogue elements. But that Ghana immigration definitely has a lot of questions to answer. He jumped to the defense of this drug kingpin. I think now when he shoots Fawaz, and for that person shoots Fawaz, you get away with it, or any Lebanese in this country, you gotta be well connected.
So the question now is, now why the president still keep him?
I have no idea. If you have a governance system based on accountability and transparency and doing right by our people consistently, that kind of mandate enough to appoint him in the first place. But now say they appoint him and he serve in such a manner, that's enough reason for show him the door. Then kind of people and they do is disservice to the country if what is alleged is true. Because me really now waiting that I they read and they go by. And I know they take Kamarimba as my source of information because he's another guy lacking credibility and integrity. And they look for sources like Africa Confidential. Those are investigative, journalists working there and so forth. So that man they get questions for answer, because now then they tarnish we country reputation. How this guy gets passport in the first place. But again, I'm not surprised by that. Chinese man and they carry with passport. The passport scam not to today again, it began. They go all the way back to I think MPRC days when they say them they do have for buy weapons for the war and all of that stuff. So too many shady characters, too many unsavory characters, running the system. And when that is the case, any kind of outcome here you expect. And it comes from people who don't give a damn.
Because now that's our answer, Prof.
Because at the end of the day, they believe that they'll get away with it. Somebody tell me, say, you get one important, well-placed politician, where if people get into trouble, all they get for doing that for, call them, and they call, then they release whoever they hold on for, whatever, reason they hold that person. Because you got to be well connected. So people get away with all kinds of stuff, including shooting at a nightclub, and stuff like narco trafficking. Make the contrast, for instance, of 2 cases we don't need in the news today. Nasalu, this drug trafficking case. We don't knock off another case off the radar a little bit, but it's still ongoing. The case of this girl with a hold, our aunt. The way when they aggressively pursue that girl for exercising in freedom of speech. Yes, we may not agree with what she said. But whether they know whether the cost was past that because they know they read and they know they record them. You get to choose your words when you criticize, those who are in power, who can use their power against you and so forth. But to the best of my knowledge, you don't apologize, if you offend, whoever. But then still not come up.
Prof, if not for any other issue, this one we get to do with the drugs saga. We see from where it come public, we see that the Ministry of Information and the Sierra Leone Police don't they communicate with the public as to wetin dey happen regarding the investigation where government say then they do. By the way, how they don't respond and handle the issue, you think that they don't be honest and transparent with the people of Sierra Leone. But how this particular drug lord comes alone and said the incident we get for do with the Guinea and all other drug related issues, the Ministry of Information and the Sierra Leone Police, where don't they come to the public for report? They don't be honest for tell the people and waiting exactly they go on.
I don't know how much Fire Cell know or how much Siba know, but the statement that we then put out very underwhelming. It not suffice. At all, given the enormity of the situation. The kind crime who they talk about. Because it almost smack of like a cover-up operation, and sometimes the cover-up is worse back than the original offense itself. Because if you go back and look at the statement that Chernobyl put out, the information minister, I should say it's a regret. And I don't say, I know they assume say that man they know waiting they go on. They try for defending president, as a minister of information, But sometimes you gotta be careful. When you don't know the facts, don't allege that the facts don't exist. Or that this person don't know that person they win at the odd. How you go get a son-in-law you don't know? Assuming that my son-in-law, because me don't know them personal, I really have no interest in their personal life, only to the degree that it impacts on we country, in name and so forth. So as far as Siba is concerned, I think that statement is really for withdrawal. Help in any way, shape or form. And the response was overwhelmingly negative. As to Fire, in your statement, I think it really get for do more as well. And I know Fire personally, I must add, to me, he's always been a gentleman. But on this score, again, because they work for him boss, he's constrained in what he says. But I think he needs to divorce his loyalty to his boss from unprofessionalism. Because now the police therefore cooperate with the Dutch authorities for try for get this situation under control. And for begin that, you get for help the Dutch authorities know the whereabouts.
So, Professor, as you said,
they provide them, and there are reports that the police, they even provide us OSD or whatever, they provide high level security for this guy. So that is troublesome. Maybe he can address those issues. I don't know, but to speak to their honesty or lack thereof, are not in a position.
But the Inspector General of Police, Professor, the Inspector General of Police don't come out clearly and tell Sierra Leonean and then say they not sabi this guy as the Bello Jos way for serve in jail term na Holland, and na the same person where the Dutch government they request for. They know him as Umar Sharif. Now, and then the passport where he used for enter. This particular statement from the IG just raised a lot of eyebrows, say how Umar Sharif get access to Sierra Leone passport and Uda Brian come inside the country if the police were there for protect Sierra Leone and them lives and property say they're not aware say this person in the country.
Well, that's a failed state for you, if you ask me. But the IG for investigate, like you rightly point out, they should go after how this individual get the passport. I'm sure he gets sponsors, he not just come and get passport. They say the man don't buy off a lot of big, wigs them around anyway, not to one just person. So you wonder how many people are recipients of his dirty money, and the more people that are recipients of his dirty money, now the more they go be compromised in waiting than they do. So now they go on. But the line of inquiry or investigation should be go after how he got the passport, and get an explanation why this individual was granted a passport and how he then don't know say this individual now the person where the Dutch authorities then they look for.
Yesterday,
and
during
forget to for know who side the guy there now. I would think say then goes start off by asking the woman where they say married, right? I don't know her. What's her name? Agnes Pio. Then for ask her. That's where you start. Obviously, you not go disclose maybe the whereabouts of a hobby or a fiance if in a fugitive and they on the run. They not go tell them say don't go Guinea or whatever. They go and hide that. But at least you start from there and move from there. And all those investigation, a robust investigation is going on to get underneath this, rather than just swept under the rug again. People are not see. I think I've been the all the contrast to our hunt case because the kind of aggressive way they go after that girl, they see no such aggression, no such robust, kind of activity involved in this case.
All right, Professor.
Another buff case. That's what it is.
Professor, yesterday during the government press conference, outside the Minister of Information can update the public on various issues. It can clearly say it's official now. Say the Dutch authority them through the Attorney General and Minister of Justice don't send in a request to the government of Sierra Leone for release to them this particular individual who them believe say for go serve in jail term. How huge from an international relations perspective? How huge is this crime we hang on top Sierra Leone so?
Very, very huge because when you look at countries in South America we are more familiar with, Colombia in particular, and Mexico to a certain extent, where now drug cartel and Haiti also they already degenerate into a kind of gang wasteland. Waiting they happen is that not only they become a pariah state, they can impose sanctions on you. They even the family of top officials there, they can impose sanctions on them for restrict their travel. They can begin such then diplomatic correspondence, and because you can't use diplomatic privileges and immunities as a kind of cover for carry out, narco trafficking, as happened in Guinea, for instance. That will begin to happen, And in the most extreme case of Panama, back then, I think it was in 1989 under Papa Bush, There was the case of a punitive removal of Noriega from power. That man is have long time na America. We don't interminate and send him France. He goes up time. I think he don't die, and he was involved in narco trafficking. But he be also the work with the CIA before then against the Sandinista in Nicaragua. But the extreme case are those punitive, removals. But very, very rare. Very rare. Sanctions and other restrictions. And like I say, it cuts away at whatever soft power Salon gets. Salon not will be the destination except for criminals and syndicates, And we want we not get hard power. Now soft power normally we get, and even that we don't squander en masse. So the implications are rather far-reaching, from an international relations perspective. Obviously, they corrode the effectiveness of the state. We don't feel as secure if drug traffickers are running the roost, because like I said, there's also that specter of terrorism, a spike in homicides, and lawlessness. But the problem we need for addressing at this country, more than anything else, is the problem of impunity. How this buff case issue, how people then they commit dastardly crime on a buff case. The petty civil offenses now they take, blow them out of proportion. So we get for address the issue of impunity, not only as it relates to human rights and other issues where they can raise up, but as it relates to issues of governance, as it relates to issues of corruption. Because now corruption, now they perpetrate the poverty in this country. Now they make we not able to lift ourselves out of poverty. Because the lily and that's the way God give we either they squander them or we the line we pocket with them. Very few individuals are benefiting. And like I always say, this is a typical example of that.
All right.
Criminal syndicates we don't follow the country because when they feel they did the benefit, the country not they go before. When we country they go before. Now we all the benefit.
All right, viewers, in case you just tune in, you watch the Breakfast Show live on Liberty TV, and this morning we get the opportunity for join virtually a professor of political science, when a Professor Jimmy Kande, where they make critical analysis from an academic point of view, waiting at the implication them on Salon on all the alleged drug trafficking case them where Eng Pan Salon now. As soon as they follow the international media. For about 3 weeks, Salon they make the headlines say they harbor a drug kingpin where the Dutch authority them don't officially write to Salon say they for release this person. Waiting this mean for Salon international image. Now I beg your pardon. Now Professor Jimmy Kande they analyze for we this morning na the Breakfast Show. All right, we continue with the Breakfast Show. We take short message from sponsors, and we come over back to Prof shortly. All right, before we take that short message, let me just quickly come again over to Prof. You don't talk about the consequences them way this go for lead Salon to basically, especially so the way how government they handle the whole thing in terms of being transparent with the public as to waiting they go on. Now, for Sierra Leoneans them where they travel on a daily basis in and out of the country, should they be worried? Need they for let Sierra Leoneans be worried using Salon passports for go internationally? We know the stigma waking the way countries them can get then kind case here hanging over them.
Obviously, they're going to treat me differently, just like during was it Ebola, the indignities they will suffer as Sierra Leoneans traveling during Ebola. While the governance at that time, then they try for, with misfortune become their opportunity, more or less, because there are a lot of people that will benefit from that, from that Ebola day. So yes, it will impact we in terms of the indignities they will get for suffer. Sometimes they will deny people a visa just because they suspect, say, then a drug trafficker or then a part of drug trafficking ring. There are all kinds of reports. This thing are not to today begin. The courier, the way they come on at this country with drugs them, then they fan around all the world. Some are young girls, some guys, young guys, they look, they pink, they haraga like nothing, but they are loaded. They are loaded. This drug money don't funnel a lot of enrichment. Now the sub-region, dramatic enrichment. People that will be materially destitute today. All of a sudden, they don't get half. They don't get more than half. So that has been going on. In fact, somebody writes now a group working frequent, inclusive national conversation. Say, Salon for use that drug money for develop the country. I've never had anything that insane. I've never had anything that insane. They say, well, Jamen Agambe, now that's it do for fund in infrastructure because even they allow the drug for Kanagambe, but they come inside Gambe. Now transshipment no more than in the taking court. Now that's some people they allege. I'm like, I don't give a damn. No head of state, not for the part of their network here, whether it taking court, no developmental goal or objective, require.
Earlier, you've been described say
justify a resort to such, forms of funding. You want to launder that money in the system. And yes, drug money they behind a lot of projects, private, by the way, mostly private, where they go on the country.
Prof.
So we are washed in that money already. But in terms of the reputation, who don't suffer, we'll get for live with that for quite a while. And I make the leadership for do all in the power for try for clean their image. Not only the image.
Cleaning the image. Earlier, you've been talking about the rogues where you believe say they around the presidency and the way how they handle this issue. If you are to sit with President Bio right now regarding this cocaine issue, what you go advise him for do?
It's hard for me for even envisage sitting with him, but if I had the opportunity, because a man who I don't sit down with before one-on-one, before he become president, when he be apply for asylum in America, because the American government will allow to testify against any asylum case, and I did not. And I informed him accordingly. But anyway, getting to your question. If I for sit with a one-on-one, my advice with him is, first and foremost, clear your name. Clear your name. Whether you became a man be involved or whatever, just clear your name first. That's the first step. That you don't be nobody or that, whatever it is. But it has to be very forceful and believable and convincing. There are many of his supporters, and me not ever be a supporter anyway of EBK and the others, but there are many of his supporters who want to believe it.
Prof, you believe say the president?
Make her finish. You say, wait to be my advice, right? And I say it starts with him. And he get for go again after the individuals who are involved in the state who may have been brought into this web of illicit activity them. So it gets for address the issue not only within, in fact, but within the state apparatus. That is, looking at the police, the immigration, the security services, whoever be involved with this guy, because it's about, cleaning up the image, not only of his family, it's a tufa. Not only in family, but the country, because the image of the family, the impact on the country. For as long as he be president, even after he left president, we still they talk about cocaine plane from EBK. Because of the image we can, but in that instance, the EBK not be get for clear in personally, because be get that family. That's what I'm saying is very important for him personally to clear his name. Because already some of the detractors, them, I'm a fair critic, I'm not a detractor. They don't begin calling, drug this, drug that, and that is not good for the country.
Prof, you said the president for clear in name, but
yes, clear the country in name. Two things that they say, and clear the country in name. Say we're not a drug trafficking hub. Then they go do everything in their power for make sure say the diplomatic service not become a conduit for drug trafficking, because now that's happening again, and that is suggest.
With a shortly, they can't talk about Guinea, but quickly, you believe, say, if you get the opportunity for advise President Bio now, one of the first way you go tell her for clear in name. But
Yes.
the level of silence around the presidency, even we at the media, the struggle for do investigation or analyze some of their issues there, so we make most of the time when they bring una as academic them for can't just analyze this issue. It's hard now for even get government official for talk about the issue, not even the Minister of Information. Anything he get for say that through the press conference after that, he say he no want for talk about time again. The level of silence among the presidency. Now, anything they show evidence of suspicion, Prof?
Well, obviously, that silence they could suggest either a cover up or guilt. And some of the officials, they no one talk, because how do you defend the indefensible? Certain thing, then the more you try for defender, and the more you dig the hole, and this is one of such issues. Because the Dutch, they're not a lie. I mean, Africa Confidential, that report was very damning. They're not a lie. They even named them, They even mentioned the fact, say, this Dutch drug baron in fiancé or wife, they be don't appoint a special envoy to the UN. Which, again, go raise all kind of suspicion, because they grant all diplomats, including her, diplomatic immunity, privileges, and so they're not researched them. Until now, I don't know what thing will happen as a consequence of this spate of reports about drug trafficking in our country. So then they will begin search there now, and then some will be, wise, not for if that's what they were up to. So there is all kind of suspicion. I make us say now the president no more will able to clear the air, address the nation.
The president, beyond you sabi, you think say he go come out and clear a name on this issue?
I doubt it very much. He doesn't say much. There have been other important cases where I be expecting for don't come address the country where address. I think say right now we in Liberia on some armed forces day in Liberia, and one day presidents go now other country for armed forces day, but now they travel a lot. So if they address this issue, because a national security, we don't address it. They Liberia for armed forces day again. So it's about priority. Again, I'm not a fan of this president or the preceding guy, or Cabal was my guy, even though he had his warts and all and his shortcomings, but it just beats me that you go there out of the country, you don't ever address this issue yet. You left your henchman them for addresser. Very unsatisfactory, really. For any kind of objective observer of the situation, you don't even get to be a critic of the government. You go cringe at some of the statements where they put out, or the kind of silence, like you said, very conspicuous silence, deafening silence over an issue that is so important, that is a threat to our national security. The well-being of people. They address them.
Prof,
And that is so disappointing.
Prof, let me talk small bit about diplomacy. Allow you use the case of the Salon ambassador to Guinea as a case study now. So, when you talk about international diplomacy, President Bio appoint ambassador there for represent them now then various country there. So, Guinea now one of the neighboring country them to Salon. The ambassador where they then catch a motorcar with huge amount of cocaine. Whether issue they come out, the chief minister now one person will come out and say the ambassador not dey under house arrest as alleged. They do in work. But yesterday we see during the government press conference, the Minister of Information state and clear say the current Minister of Foreign Affairs, Timothy Kaba, don't go meet with authorities in Guinea, and they don't release to them the Salon ambassador. As of yesterday, it be there on him way the count and a Salon for investigation. All of them
disgrace there, so quote and unquote, hanging on Sierra Leone in the area of diplomacy. What does this mean, Professor?
Chief Minister, they being all them falsification of data, figures from Wasket to election and all. Namanu are not us. Namanu, initially, I be hope, say, could be one of the bright lights then at this administration. But it disappoints woefully. So anyway, he can have his due. So what he expect him for saying? Now lie then they Now lie then they I don't feel say Tim Kabago lie. He's a gentleman. But he need for investigate in foreign ministry, in diplomatic corps. Let make sure say they don't transform them into a network, a drug trafficking network. Because the worst thing that can happen in our country now for let diplomatic service become another avenue for drug trafficking. And like I said, the Guinea case, not a one-off case. Then they don't they go on, and that's when they catch them. And look the load where they catch them with. Look the kind load where they catch them with. How do you absolve that ambassador? If you can absolve and say not be mixed, why the Guinean then be hold her for a while under house arrest? Say that they investigate. Right? The real chief minister now they try for Dabaru, we say the man not even there under house arrest. Then to the contrary, so they cannot even shoot straight. When you get a malfunction in government, they know they shoot straight. Even the story, the way they plan it, I said the cover-up sometimes is worse than the original offense. And that's what they see here. I know the team Kaba, I feel say kind of constrained in terms of the system in which they work. But he himself, therefore, be very proactive for make sure say a ministry way no can become a drug trafficking ministry because they get all them diplomatic privileges and immunities.
In all of this, government say they don't amount an investigation where they go on now, and the public for trust waiting the government will get for pull regarding the investigation, especially so when the Minister of Information be states at this week breakfast show there is no timeline to the investigation. People for belonging for waits for yearly waiting government they can say regarding waiting and go fair not span this whole issue.
I think waiting that minister they hope and pray for is that this issue go away. People then go forget what other thing go happen, we go focus their attention. That is their attitude. They're very cavalier, they're very callous rather. Most of them not even think through the consequences, short term and long term. They only calculus now short term. Almost think you make now. You don't know how many of them are in the pay of this guy. And that may explain why they're silent, they no one go. Even the immigration guy need to hold a press conference, like clear the air. Otherwise, they should kick him out of the immigration department and put somebody else there who has more credibility, at least some integrity. Now for even renew passport, right? For a new passport, they say now 1 million. If you not spend like 4 million, you know they get your passport. Because there are all those added costs. Therefore, don't digitize that system. They loan it. So you can apply for your renewal or whatever online, pay online. But no, they're not going to do it. Even Ghana, they do that for their passport. You don't get for go waiting anywhere. So you do all that bribe, you cut them off. But that is very difficult to establish here because the system is so, it has been so corrupted. There's no sphere of governmental activity we're not infected by waiting they go on. So again, other than they in pay, now God one green. But that may explain the silence. And also the fact the silence not just among these officials, if the president's not talk. How a official then go talk? This na matter where really whatever the official then say is secondary. As important as waiting the preso himself go say.
Professor,
for clear a new name, clear in bikini name, or whether or dissociate himself from this blood. That's what he needs to do. Dissociate himself. and our country. One way you do that is handing him over, but I doubt that very much because all my ways will come up.
Professor, this Salon ambassador in issue where suicide the foreign minister been come out to say it don't recall her for come home, but the Guinea authority are not agree for release am. They may need for go and engage the Guinean authority. Then finally yesterday they release am to the foreign minister, where I believe say they go don reach Salon by now, and then say that they can investigate this ambassador to Guinea. How come this cocaine been going in Motoka then catch am on the way to Guinea? If this investigation na anything for go by, this SLPP government wey we don conduct several investigation, should the citizen be hopeful say a thorough investigation go be done?
Me not hopeful, I don't know about other citizens. Then why they investigate themselves? Come on. I don't have hope at all. I don't get any faith in the judiciary system either because it's been captured a long time ago. It's a cesspool of corruption. So why have for Abu? Why have for most people not even bother for go to the courts because it's a waste of their time. So the investigation, whatever it turns out to be, it's gonna be a smokescreen. At best, a smokescreen to cover up things rather than to reveal the real actors, the extent of the nefarious activities that they involved in, and so forth. So I don't get any faith in investigation in this country. We don't get plenty way not come on a buff case. Waiting they happen to that, waiting have been truckload of cocaine where they say waiting by I don't forget. But there have been many instances where they investigate stuff. Look about the boat trailer that Black Johnson. I don't ever hear anything about that again. Again, then they pick and choose waiting they want to investigate. If not, then detractors them involved in any of the entire activities, then they go after them and then go investigate. They have the full power of the law and the capacity for carry out the investigation and for apprehend people that were implicated in the entire activities, but they're not going to do it. Either because then they're on them payroll or because then they get instructions from higher ups. Because it's always, from above. The instructions always come from above, to get rid of people. I mean, when they're ready for get rid of me now for Bay College, I say the president not to follow democracy. It was from higher up. I just appear to teach my class, then say, no, you can no longer because we got, instructions say no. So that's how things work here. So if those at the top, change can only occur in this country where it can to then kind issues of transparency, accountability. Now then get for set the example, the right example for others to follow. Saloma no like Safia, but I think say we get leader we upright. We believe in consistently doing right by our people. I think we people go fall in line. We all day long for such kind of leader. Look how the sub-region, they gravitate toward Ibrahim Traore, na Burkina Faso. That's a very young man in his 30s. But I will follow him any day because he's a Sankarist. They follow the pathway Thomas Sankara established not only in that country, but for African Black people all over the world. He's an inspirational leader. We know they get that now. If you say waiting they go there, go on and places like that, yes, they have their problem. They are fighting jihadists there and over there and so forth. But the sincerity of purpose is not lacking. And when that sincerity of purpose lacking in any leader, now then can't see how they get. So me not believe say that investigation will be any fool too. And it's just not for now, mostly cover up now like business here. Let's just pray for our country and hope for the best, especially the younger ones who are coming up. Because even compared to the country where some of we grow up in, it's night and day. And it's sad to say.
Quickly, before you left we, Professor, let we talk about the SLPP government in governance that President Bio they do in second and final term now. With all the allegation they are hanging on him, the citizen them okay for let them begin get this feeling say President Bio don lost focus of a main priority them, the big 5 game changer the way come into his second term with.
I never believed in anything he said. Yeah, just like I not believe anything when he says or say. Because they are part of a political class that has ruined this country. So, me not be hang me hat on anything when the 5 proposals or whatever it is that you're talking about. Because you begin tell a good leader by looking at, anyway, I cannot even get into that. Yeah, I cannot get into trouble. But all I can say is that looking at the second term, the president has failed us. Just like EBK, in my opinion, also failed us, in all aspects of governance. I need not begin to go into how they were not inclusionary, both of them, how they were not transparent, how they were not that much accountable at all. Look what they do to Lara till Pierce, for doing her work, for doing that. Now, then kind people and they will need in the system with integrity, with professionalism, but those people don't thrive. That in cronies then they thrive. We beholding personally to them and not loyal to the state. So how you go build loyalty to the state? It starts with sincerity of purpose on the part of the leader. So in terms of their legacy, they live in a terrible legacy. I always say you they judge a good leader, particularly in Africa, if he left in country in a much better state than how we fend that country the when he take over. For Kaba, you go say Kaba left in country in a better state, more promising. People were more hopeful coming out of the war under Kaba than if he meets the state. I can't say the same for EBK. Governance worsened under EBK, and it continues to worsen under JMB. And the fact of the matter is that I wished both of those characters well. Because if they do well for we country, now we country they go before. We all want root for them, let them succeed. But you can tell from even the beginning, say they were not going to forget it. And that's what's been happening. Very sad. Very sad.
So, Prof, if many Sierra Leoneans then share the same view where you get say both the past and present presidents them not don't do well for the country, should people be hopeful say better days go come?
Then two party waiting. It's like a party course. It's like the course we country within two party. And for a third party to emerge, it will be very, very difficult. So the hope is to try to work for change within them two party with a group of new leaders. I can tell some APC party there, I say, hey, look, for the APC to grow, EBK must go. It don't serve in time. Let's step aside. They allow you energetic people then with new ideas for coming who may do a far better job. The same in the SLPP. Open the system up. Let some new guys, not for all SLPP get for be pauper. There are many good people in both parties. But they're not going to come up to the surface because the system, they stifle their rise or emergence in their party then they. So that's where it may have to happen within these parties. But if you don't get internal democracy in their party, how you go get another court? How then party go serve a custodian of democracy? They not allow them, even inside their own party. So it's very, very difficult. If I say I'm hopeful, I'll be lying.
All right. Many thanks.
Long term, everybody has to be hopeful anyway.
All right. Many thanks, Professor Jimmy Kande. We joined me this morning for Kangiwi an in-depth analysis from an academic point of view on all the alleged drug scandal we're hanging on Sierra Leone. Now be a pleasure for get you this morning, sir.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's now Professor Jimmy Kande, when I professor of political science, will be the talk to inside the breakfast show this morning. We analyze what's in the drug scandal there where they on Sierra Leone mean for Sierra Leone na the international space, and also even throw light on diplomacy, especially on the area of the Salon ambassador to Guinea, where they will catch a huge load of drugs na Imotoka they go inside Guinea. All of this, Professor Kande, be analyzed for we inside the breakfast show this morning. Many thanks to you. We don't take you time. You don't watch me this morning. Continue for watch Liberty Breakfast Show and all other programs them where they come out from Liberty TV as well they are so for discuss all the issues them where they happen around the country. Na Princess Pias na produce the program. Musa Saokoma na ina the technical man where you will support for let the program meet you. Mina Khadija Bangura, they say have a blessed day.
All right, and Mabel Kabade said, get a good day. Apologies to USN. The many messages that we will see will not able to go through. Until we meet again, get a good day and goodbye.
If you're happy to meet we are, clap your hands. If you're happy to meet we are, clap your hands. If you're happy to party with we are, pay for your ticket. If you're happy to party with we are, pay for your ticket. Join us for the iconic dinner and white party.
We yard fumble. Any partner of the world where you find yourself, members say on the 28th of June 2025, all roads, all flights lead to the city of the European Parliament, Strasbourg, right inside France.
Usai Riyadh, that's not by Bure and Shengwe go host Riyadh iconic dinner and white party. This na big opportunity for make you go rakpala, rub skin and jam body with Riyadh family members step where you don't see any Yerina Riyadh YouTube channel for so long.
So kids with all white on the 28th June 2025, a day where we set aside for make you meet with great warriors then a saloon. That na Flagbearer and SLPP of Riyadh. But first, make we show them love and support. Join the Flagbearer and SLPP healthy ticket sale competition for just €100. Call for buy your tickets and make early reservation for the event. Call plus 337 8056 0338 and say I support Flagbearer. Same way so, call plus 337 7180 6938 and say I support SLPP. We are going to keep record of the ticket sale and go make we all know who that win on the day for we had iconic dinner and white party.
You can also call for make donation and exchange Boku people and life inside salon with Riyadh and generous donations.
So not forget, on the 28th June 2025, na Strasbourg inside France for just €100, we had iconic dinner and white party, the place where we all go enjoy with love and happiness. See you all there.
Get your ticket now, don't delay.